Doom is, for lack of better word, a very important series to me. From when I was 5 years old, sneaking a peek at the TV while my friend played it on his SNES. I wasn't allowed to watch it, I was 5 years old. To when I finally got to play Doom on PC years later when I was just barely in the double digits. Or maybe when Doom 3 came out and it was scaring the bejesus out of me. I still think the opening of Doom 3 is one of the most iconic openings to a game ever. Or how about the fact that me and my friend were playing Doom mods for thousands to watch online back in 2011. And finally, in 2020, I'm 30 years old now, and it's all come back to me, the reasons why I love this series so much. My name is Barley, and this is my review of Doom Eternal.
Against all the evil that hell.
So I just finished Doom Eternal, and it's pretty dang good. Good job, man. Now I do have a few issues with the game, but most of it's just nitpicky stuff in terms of balancing or day one bugs and glitches. But that said though, I do want to try and cover all of it. And for anyone who hasn't played the game, don't worry, I'm going to try and keep it as spoiler free as possible. Also, by the way, shoutouts to id for calling this game Doom Eternal and not Doom 2. I can't tell you how annoying it is to have to differentiate between Doom 2016 and Doom 1, but anyway, I diverge. Let's get to it. Starting out, we find out some time has passed since the last entry in the series. Earth is being overrun by hell, much like the original Doom 2 story, and everyone's just generally having a good time. After that, we get thrown onto a demonic barge and... Wait, hold on. Okay. Alright, hold on, you didn't see that. That weapon's a spoiler. Anyway, the first thing you'll notice is there's no more pistol. That's right. Took nearly 30 years, it's finally gone. It's always been that one thing that Quake had that I kind of wish Doom would adopt, but, you know, saying that Doom needs less weapons is kind of heresy. Anyway, it's a good change. So right out of the gate, you get to kill a few zombies, which is, well, I mean, yeah. And then we're immediately thrown into glory kills. And if you don't remember what glory kills are, the game is going to tell you. In fact, it kind of likes to stop you in your tracks all the time to tell you, hey, there's a new enemy here. Shoot his hand. I'm not a fan of this, as it's kind of like having a younger sibling who's constantly trying to backseat you as you try to learn the game for yourself, and you just want to be like, no! Though you can also disable it in the options menu, so it's not the end of the world. After this, the game gives you the chainsaw, as well as introducing you to secrets, double jump, and your first weapon mod. I personally recommend taking the grenade launcher mod because it's better on ammo. And ammo efficiency in Doom Eternal is actually a lot more important than you'd think, because going into the next room is your first arena. Now, it's a pretty lame arena, it's just imps and soldiers, but this gives me a chance to talk about some of the biggest changes from Doom 2016 to Doom Eternal. So the first thing you might notice is all the enemies look a lot more like their original counterparts now. They even brought back health potions and helmets. Personally, I love this change, but I'm a dirty doomer, so of course I'm gonna love that. Now the second thing that is new is the endless spawns of low-tier zombie enemies. These actually have a bigger impact on gameplay than you'd think. And that's because of the third and arguably biggest change that Eternal brings to the table: glory kill rewards. Now at first, glory kills don't seem any different from 2016. Like in 2016, you attack an enemy, they become vulnerable, you swoop in and you do some unspeakable brutality and yay, you get a prize. Health, ammo, and if you have the right upgrade, armor. Okay, so Eternal is very much the same. They flash, you swoop, you do your thing, but now you only get health. And there's no upgrade to fix this either. That's because now ammo is replenished by chainsaw kills. This is a change that id wanted to implement to fix the problem of crutching on 1 to 2 weapons like many of us did in 2016. And at the beginning, this new gameplay element feels a little bit counterintuitive, as we only have 1 to 3 weapons early on, so it kind of feels like you're constantly running out of ammo and then sprinting around to find some zombies to chainsaw. But as you get further into the game and find more weapons, I feel like the system really starts to shine. No longer was I relying on one weapon, instead I was constantly swapping around based on the situation requirements. This is, in my personal opinion, a very good solution to the two-weapon problem of the previous title, as it makes you more aware of your trigger finger and therefore makes you want to maximize each shot. It's a good system. Good job, id. And then finally at the end of this tutorial section, you're going to find your first bit of cutscene. That's right, cutscene. Which, yeah, I've seen some mixed opinions on that, and I get it. Plot in Doom is a little strange at first, but honestly, it's good. I don't mind it. Then after that, you go outside and you get your first real taste of how good this game can look.
The first Hell Priest has been terminated.
This game is insanely gorgeous. There are moments in pretty much every level that I just stopped to soak in the environments. Right before getting back to killing 3D demons to Mick Gordon's soundtrack, that is. Oh yeah, Mick Gordon. Arguably, one of the best things about 2016 was the soundtrack by this absolute Doom murderhead. It was heavy, it was intense, and it's honestly starting to achieve an iconic status over the last near half-decade. Isn't it weird that Doom 2016 came out 4 years ago? Am I getting old? Back to Eternal's music though, it's pretty much the same thing. The songs in this game constantly dance on that nostalgia and then jump straight back into making you feel like a Doom child on sugar and speed. It doesn't feel overcompressed at times like the previous title. Everything is distinct and clear and oh, I love this headshot sound. But yeah, no surprise there. Mick Gordon and the sound team did a fantastic job on this game. Good job, you big man. So in the next room we get to fight this Kako demon. At least I think he's fighting me. Hello? Then we get to fight our first new enemy in Doom Eternal. That's right, boys, it's back! So the Arachnotron... What? Oh, there it is. So with the Arachnotron, we're introduced to weak points. Now, weak points are sections of an enemy that you can shoot that will change up their enemy behavior or do extra damage to them. In this case, with the Arachnotron, I've shot off his turret, so now he has to use his other weapons. It's a really neat mechanic, and I think it adds a lot to this game. And it makes getting those pinpoint accurate shots feel rewarding and impactful. Another kind of new thing are these environmental hazards. Now, I know 2016 had them, but it was more of like a late game thing, and they kind of explained it with the level geometry. No, these are just like straight up Doom 64 style. There's no apologies or reasoning, it's just like, here you go, gamer. The whole game honestly feels this arcadey, and it's so unapologetic, I love it. You even have a hub ship that you visit in between most levels where you can listen to music, engage in an Easter egg hunt, or unlock new things using collectibles from the levels. It feels like such a video game. And that feels really weird to say that because, I mean, it is a video game, but how often do you find games nowadays that just don't care? Like, holy shit, these keys are floating. The pickups are glowing and you're traveling on a giant space castle. It feels like every game needs to try and explain in lore why something is the way it is. Like, no, dude, it's just, this is a video game. Just accept it. And that's one of my favorite things about this game, is that it completely embraces what it's trying to be. But the question is, what is it trying to be? The way I see it, it wanted to create a love letter to the genres of shooters of their past and create another Doom. Like 2016, the combat is more reminiscent of Quake or Unreal, FPSs that fall more into the arena shooter category than your traditional Doom title. Now, while Doom 2016 dipped into arena shooter combat a little bit, I personally think it's Eternal that fully embraced what it was trying to do in the first place. The new speed, intensity, and new movement mechanics are at a level I feel like I've never even seen before in a mainline Doom game, sometimes feeling closer to Quake 3 Deathmatch than it does Doom. And I get the same adrenaline rush feeling playing this game on upper difficulties as I did playing online Unreal Tournament back in the day. And I think that's what they sought to achieve with Doom Eternal. When you're locked into an arena with swarms of enemies pressuring you, the game absolutely demands 100% of your attention, requiring quick reflexes, smart movement, and using the right tool at the right time. Failure of any of those three corners means pretty much certain death, and honestly, the challenge is completely on point in this game. And in between the arenas, you'll be engaging in platforming sections. Now, I've actually been seeing a lot of mixed opinions on this since release. honestly, I didn't mind them. I found them quite refreshing compared to the hall to hall to room formula of 2016, and I also found them quite rewarding to find secrets. There's a lot of verticality here of looking up and looking around in your environments, and I don't know, I enjoyed them. But I'm also someone who 100%ed hot lava, so maybe I'm biased towards platforming sections, I don't know. Eternal also introduced dashing, which is a fantastic addition to the game by giving a player a much needed maneuverability boost for both offensive and defensive play. Combine this with jump pads, swing bars, and the super shotgun grappling hook, and oh, it's beautiful. And on the topic of combat in this game, I obviously have to bring up the new enemies. There are a few new additions this time around and a few returning champions, such as the Pain Elemental and the Archvile. Now, while I don't want to spoil the late game too much, I will say that the new revisions of all these enemies are fantastic. When I think of Pain Elementals or Archviles in Doom 2, it's usually a resounding ugh. This time, however, they've been redesigned to be more challenging and less annoying while retaining what made them unique all those years ago. However, there's one enemy that not everyone is liking. The Marauder is an enemy that's sort of like the evil counterpart, the Doom guy, and as such he'll end up being the bane of your existence anytime you encounter him in a fight. He's kind of a pain in the ass to deal with at first, but believe it or not, he's actually not that bad. Whether you abuse counterattacks on him or hit him with the remote detonated rockets and grenades, he's definitely beatable, and over time I actually grew to really appreciate the dynamic he brought to the arenas. And honestly, it's not hard to cheese him, just use grenades. It completely breaks his AI half the time. However, the main campaign isn't the only place you're going to find the Marauder. You like my segue? This is a segue into battle mode. I haven't seen battle mode get a lot of attention yet, and it kind of surprises me because it's pretty alright. I actually really like it. So battle mode is this asynchronous 2v1 demons versus slayer mode that's actually a little bit reminiscent of Half-Life 1's mod Natural Selection. Now, Natural Selection basically had it where it was Marines versus aliens. One side was more strategic, and the other side was more reactionary based. Now, this is very much the same thing, but kind of switch it around. The demons being the more strategic side, and the Slayer being the more reactionary side. The demons get to spawn lesser demons and control the arena as the Slayer jumps around and does his thing. Whichever team wins the best of 5 rounds wins the game. Honestly, props to id for taking this chance with this non-traditional multiplayer mode on a game like this. I don't know if I could ever see this getting popular, but I don't know. I really enjoy it, and I really think everyone should give it a shot. It's quite fun. And it was kind of a nice surprise at the end of this game for me. Now, all in all, Doom Eternal has been fantastic, but it's not all perfect, as I did have some gripes with the game, such as performance issues on my AMD card, which I was mostly able to fix by disabling the Steam overlay. I'm not sure what that's about, but there's also been a ton of bugs regarding milestone progression not counting, which isn't the end of the world, but come on, that's just annoying. Multiplayer isn't perfect, as it does have lag, and I even ran into a few cheaters who ruined my win streak. I'm looking at you, Jiggler.
Look, he killed me with the stun.
Nightmare mode can be downright annoying sometimes, as you can come out of a glory kill and go from 100% health to 0 in half a second.
Caution.
Cảnh báo, có spoiler, phía trước đây là cảnh báo cuối cùng của bạn.
And while I do really enjoy the new story stuff, I'm not really feeling this Doom guy voice. I know he's quoting the comic and everything, but...
Guts. Huge guts.
I don't know about that one, fam. Also, on the topic of story, is she talking about Daisy here?
If you let the priest live, then I will return to you what the demons took from you so long ago.
But all my gripes aside, this might be one of my favorite shooters ever. And as far as sequels go, I kind of feel like this might actually be a better sequel than Doom 2. But can I really say that? As I said in the opening of this video, Doom is one of the most influential and important video game series in my entire life. I mean, it was there when I was a kid, it was there when I was a teen, it was there through my 20s, and now I'm in my 30s and it's still there. And to say that Doom Eternal is a better sequel than Doom 2 is, well, quite the statement. But hear me out. Doom 2 is a great game. In fact, it's Doom 2's additions to the formula that set the foundation that would become the legendary modding scene that we have today. And I can't tell you how many hours I've sunk into Doom wads and mods over the years. I have entire friendships going back decades that all grew out of a passion for Doom. So don't get me wrong, I love Doom 2 and I still think it holds up today as one of the greatest shooters out there. But if you strip away all the mods, WADs, and everything that came after the release, and just look at Doom 2 in a bubble, it's kind of an underwhelming sequel. Ultimate Doom had some of the most iconic levels ever made for a Doom game, and Doom 2 had some of the more, well, infamous levels. At least to me, Doom 2 feels more like an expansion pack than a raw sequel. When I was a kid, I expected sequels to be bigger and better, but when I finally got to Doom 2, I was confused. It just looked like Doom 1, but with a super shotgun and some new enemies. Which is what makes Eternal stand out to me. It didn't just innovate the series and rely on the legacy of the games before it. Instead, they made it their own game with the blood and passion of 25 years in the making. It's obvious that the people who worked on the game are fans just like us. Eternal was one of the biggest surprises for me in this genre in nearly 15 years. And I can also acknowledge that this might not have been the sequel that everyone had wanted, but for me, it delivered and more. It felt like every other detail was a homage to the Dooms of the past, while the gameplay was a big step forward. And that's why, in my personal opinion, that I feel as though Doom Eternal is a better sequel than Doom 2. My name is Barley, and this was Doom Eternal.